You've got a 5-second lead. You can't see the wall anymore, only the mirror. And in the mirror, nothing is chasing you. Yet. This is New Hampshire. The exact second the track turns from wet to dry. The grip disappears under the tires. The rear end goes light. The car that felt untouchable 10 laps ago suddenly feels like a stranger. Somewhere behind you, a number is climbing. You don't know it yet, but it's going to follow you all the way to Daytona. This is the story of a 31-point cushion, and the man who says he's coming to take it. His name is Shane van Gisbergen. After New Hampshire, Shane van Gisbergen sits 16th in the Cup Series standings with 586 points, the final automatic playoff spot. Ryan Preece sits directly behind him in 17th with 555 points. The gap between them is exactly 31 points. One race remains before the field is set. Daytona International Speedway hosts the regular season finale, and whatever happens there decides who advances and who goes home. 31 points looks like a wide margin on paper, but Daytona is not a track where points can be managed the way they can at a mile-and-a-half oval or a road course. Pack racing changes everything in an instant. One stage swing, one drafting mistake, one late caution, and the entire math resets before anyone can react to it. A driver running comfortably in the top 10 can be collected in a multi-car incident that has nothing to do with his own mistake and lose the spot he spent an entire season building. 31 points can look enormous until the green flag drops. Ryan Preece is not treating this as a long shot. He said heading into Daytona, "I'm on offense. I'm not playing defense." He followed that with a blunt admission of how the track has treated him. "Hopefully Daytona is going to love me back for once." Shane van Gisbergen has something to lose. Ryan Preece has nothing to lose. That imbalance sits underneath everything that follows. Drop a comment with your prediction, and share this with another NASCAR fan while you're at it. New Hampshire started as a showcase. Shane van Gisbergen led 30 laps in wet conditions and built a lead of nearly 6 seconds, looking like the class of the field. Then the track dried, and the collapse began. Van Gisbergen and teammate Connor Zilisch both fell backward, in Van Gisbergen's own words, "as fast as we could." He explained the drop-off directly. Being that fast on wet weather tires and falling that fast shows that we were missing something to have grip on the slick tires. He added afterward, "We would love to have more of a cushion heading into Daytona, but the #60 did a great job today." The number 97 car went from leading the field by nearly 6 seconds to running outside the top 20 inside a handful of laps. A swing large enough that it could not be explained away as a single bad pit stop or a lone mistake on track. Whether this was a tire issue, a setup issue, or something Trackhouse Racing has not yet identified remains unanswered. Fans reacted to the fade in real time. One fan, watching the number 97 slide from the lead to 20th, joked that Trackhouse's response to a 5-second cushion was simply, "Hold our beers." Another fan was far less amused, calling the performance something Trackhouse should be embarrassed about. Daytona adds a variable nobody can fully calculate. The track is running a revised superspeedway aero package for this race. The rear spoiler cut from 7 inches to 4 inches, and horsepower reduced from 510 to 465. There is no practice session before the race to establish a baseline. Ryan Preece summed up what that means for the field. "I guess we're all on a level playing field when we go into that one." Cars that look strong on paper could behave completely differently once they're in the draft, since a smaller spoiler and reduced horsepower change how tightly cars can run together and how easily the pack breaks apart. If New Hampshire exposed a real weakness in the number 97 car under changing conditions, the question becomes what happens when every car on the grid is dealing with unfamiliar conditions simultaneously, with no data from a previous run to fall back on. The history at this track only sharpens the stakes. Shane van Gisbergen has made 4 career starts at Daytona, with a best finish of 16th and 3 finishes of 30th or worse. Ryan Preece has 13 Daytona starts and 3 top 10 finishes, but he has not cracked the top 10 there since 2021, and he has walked away from 2 severe crashes at the track, including one in which his car flipped and rolled roughly 13 times. There is a second battle hiding beneath the obvious one. While Ryan Preece trails Shane van Gisbergen by 31 points in the driver standings, his number 60 RFK Racing team trails the number 97 Trackhouse Chevrolet by only 6 points in the owner's standings. That gap turns this from a personal fight for Preece into a live mathematical scenario for the entire RFK racing organization. Austin Cindric sits 13 points above the cut line in the owner's standings, and Bubba Wallace sits clear by a margin of 44 to 75 points, depending on the measure used. This is not a two-man fight. It is a four-driver, three-spot situation playing out across two separate point systems at once. One fan pointed directly at the column almost nobody was discussing, noting that Van Gisbergen sits at +6 over Preece and Cindric at +19 in the owner's standings, suggesting the real fight is hiding in plain sight. The closer this gets examined, the less safe 31 points looks. The contrast between the two drivers is not only mathematical, it is psychological. Shane van Gisbergen has something to lose. Ryan Preece has something to gain. Preece's own words carry a different weight in this context. I'm on offense. I'm not playing defense. Van Gisbergen's tone after New Hampshire was guarded, a driver who openly admitted he wanted a bigger cushion and did not get one. Fans have split into two camps. One warned that Preece could come in so hard he passes everyone midair and still wins and makes the chase. A more measured fan pointed out that Preece's late charge in his best race of the year only netted him 19 points, nowhere near enough to erase 31 at a track known for chaos. Both instincts remain unresolved, mirroring the uncertainty running through the entire storyline, and neither camp has anything beyond speculation to stand on until the race itself plays out. Daytona carries physical risk beyond the standings. Ryan Preece's history at the track includes the August 2023 crash, where his car flipped and rolled roughly 13 times down the backstretch, and the 2025 Daytona 500 crash, where his car reared onto its rear wheels before flipping onto its roof. Shane van Gisbergen, a road course specialist by background, arrives with almost no personal history to draw from at the most violent, unpredictable oval on the schedule, and no crash of his own at this track to compare against what Preece has already survived twice. The 31-point cushion is not only a math problem for either man. It is a survival problem, inside a car that can turn against its driver in an instant, regardless of how carefully points are being counted beforehand. The feeling from that opening moment at New Hampshire, a lead disappearing in real time, now applies forward to a race that has not happened yet. If Shane van Gisbergen walks into Daytona thinking about protecting 31 points, and Ryan Preece walks in thinking only about taking them, the question of who is actually ahead has no clean answer before the green flag drops. One voice in the fan base is already bracing for a different outcome entirely, joking that Van Gisbergen will be taken out by Zilisch before Preece even gets the chance to do it himself, a joke that lands harder because nobody can say for certain it's wrong. Drop your prediction in the comments, share this with a fellow NASCAR fan, and if you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.